Hello and welcome to my channel In Search of Wonder. My name is Anne and today I have my June TBR. So, I feel like a little bit disorganized and scattered here. So hopefully I will be able to present this list of books in a way that makes sense and is coherent. Let's start with the challenges that I do every month, year long. First of all, we have the What the Dickens Facebook book club that I'm in. And I have not done the past couple of months because for one reason or another. And I'm thinking I will probably skip this month as well, in a way, because for June they are reading Anne of Green Gables, which I reread, I think last year, the year before, and I'm currently working my way through the Anne of Green Gables series. And the next one I have to read is Anne's House of Dreams. So I think I will read, if I get to it, Anne's House of Dreams rather than Anne of Green Gables. And I will still be able to participate in the discussion because Anne of Green Gables is fresh enough in my mind and I'm familiar enough with the story that I can participate with them, but also read this and still be like a part of that. So that is the first option. All of these are possibilities. None of this is set in stone. There are a few things on here that I'm really committed to finishing sooner rather than later, but what happens, happens, right? The Tea and Ink Society has a classics reading challenge also that I am doing, and the prompt for June is a Southern United States classic. So think Eudora Welty or Flannery O'Connor or something along those lines. I actually picked a book that has been on my TBR for a very long time that I have not yet read, and I'm really excited to dig into it. I don't have a picture, so I'll put one up there. I don't actually have it. I'm going to borrow it from the library, the ebook version, and that is Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora, Neale, Hurston. And I don't know much about it other than that when people talk about it, they have very good things to say usually, and it just seems like something that would be very interesting for me to read. So I am definitely hoping to get to that one in June. And then for Chantal's Read Your Shelf challenge, I am switching to the Lucy Maud Montgomery track this month. In April, both the prompts were the same. I believe it was to read a book with a red-headed main character. And then for May, the Montgomery prompt was to read a book by a favorite author, and the Doyle prompt was to read a book by a new to you author. And so I did both of those. So I'm still in both camps, but I think for the month of June, I'm going to switch to Montgomery. And the prompt for that is to read a book of poetry. And I've already started this one, and that is Paradise Lost by John Milton. And I'm going to continue reading that one, hopefully, and get all the way through it in the month of June. We'll see. I've read the first book, and I don't remember how many books are in it, but that's my goal. And then I also need to read Frankenstein, but I don't know. I would like to get to it in June, but so many other things going on probably will not happen. But that was the last book that my son read in his high school English class. So I would like to get to it so that I can actually fulfill my goal of reading all the books that he read in his freshman English class, literature class, but we'll see. It may get pushed into the summer. As long as I get it done before next school year, it'll count, right? And then there are two readathons that I'm going to be participating in. The first one is the historical fiction readathon by Shelley Swearingen, and I love historical fiction, so this is like the easiest readathon in the world to do because half of what I read anyway is historical fiction, easily. And I'm also going to be beginning the summer book bingo put on every year by Tiffany at Beautiful Minutia, and I'm very excited about that. So I definitely have some books for June that fit prompts for that bingo game. So let's start with the historical fiction though, because that is specifically for the month of June. And I don't know how many of these I will get to, but these are books that are on my TBR that I want to read, that I haven't read yet, and they fit into prompts for this readathon. Furthermore, several of these books were on my pile of possibilities for the month of May, and I didn't get to them, and they are books that I really want to read. So pushing them into June I'm happy about that because it gives me another opportunity to read them. The first prompt is to read a book, a historical fiction set in the country that you are from. Well, I'm from the United States. I can do even better. I'm going to read a book, or hope to read a book, that is set in the state that I am from. And that is the Moonbow Night, which is set in Virginia. At the very least, it begins in Virginia. I'm not sure that they stay in Virginia. I think they go to Kentucky maybe, but it starts in Virginia. So this one, I want to read all of Laura Frantz's books, and this is one I have not read yet. And my sister says it's a really good one, so I will hope to get to that one in June. The next prompt is to read a book set in a different country. And this one is a library book, so I would like to get to this before I have to return it. And that is A Shadow in Moscow by Katherine Reay, which is set during the Cold War. So I've not read a lot of fiction set in the Cold War, so that is interesting. And it is set in Moscow, different country. Well, Russia being the country. And then a couple of the prompts that I didn't have anything immediately that came to mind that I really wanted to read were a new to you time period or a speculative or magical realism element, which both of those would be really cool, but I kind of I had so many slots to fill for June and possibilities and things that I wanted to read. I was like, I don't think I will get to all the prompts, and that's fine. So those two I would probably not get to. And then another prompt is the perspective of an ordinary person. So this was one that was on my May TBR that I did not get to, and that is Listening Valley by D.E. Stevenson. So that one is going on my TBR pile of possibilities for June. And it is set during World War II, and it is about a normal everyday woman and her struggles during that war. I have two options for the next prompt, and they are both newer releases that I would like to read. The prompt is to read a mystery or a romance. So I have books that kind of go with either one. And I think both of these books have a bit of a mystery element. They definitely both have a romance element. They're not strictly romance novels, I think, but they have that aspect of the story. The first one is The Elusive Truth of Lily Temple. And I just listened today to a video review by Paperbacks and Ponytails, and she really enjoyed this one, so I'm looking forward to reading that. I think I can get that through the library on Hoopla. And then British Booksellers by Kristy Cambron is the next one, and that is set during World War I, World War II. I think it's a dual timeline. It covers both wars, and set in England. And I also can get that one on Hoopla. And then the final prompt is to read a classic historical fiction work. So when it was written, it was historical fiction, but it's now a classic. So one that fits that qualification is The Scarlet Pimpernel, which is written about the French Revolution, but it was written in the 30s, I believe. So it was historical fiction when it was written, and it is a classic. So again, this was on my TBR for May, and I did not get to it. So I really do want to reread. This would be a reread for me, and I really want to reread it. So that is going on my TBR. So that's for the historical fiction. Now this one probably has some overlaps with the summer book bingo. So I didn't take the time to figure all of that out. So I will definitely be plugging those in, if they're appropriate, into the summer book bingo. But here are some of the prompts from the summer book bingo that I am hoping possibly to get to in June or at some point in the summer. And one of the prompts is to read a book with a hot cover. So a cover that looks hot or shows like, a a hot setting or something like that. And I have this one, which actually I had picked for a similar prompt in May, but didn't get to. And that is Love and the Silver Lining. And that just looks like it's a lazy, hot summer day in, I don't know, Oklahoma, somewhere over there. I think that should fit that prompt. And I really do want to read. I've not read anything by Tammy Gray that I know of, and I've heard so many good things. I really want to read it. And then another prompt is to read a book about vacation or travel. So the characters go on vacation or travel in the story. And I would like to read Positively Penelope again. It was on my TBR for May, but I never got around to it. And the character Penelope travels to the imaginary land of Skymar in this story, and the story takes place there. So that fits that prompt. For the reread prompt, there are a couple of options. If I get to them, either Anne's House of Dreams or The Scarlet Pimpernel would both be rereads for me, so that counts for that prompt as well. And then for the sci-fi fantasy prompt, so many people have raved about this book Recorder. Sci-fi is not a genre that I generally read, but this is one that's just the story and the idea of it really intrigues me. I really very much want to read it. So I'm getting to it at some point this summer to cross off that spot in the book bingo, and also just to read it and see what everybody is raving about and see if it is as interesting as it sounds. And then a book I've been putting off, and I haven't been putting it off for ages and ages, but I've had it on my TBR multiple times now and have even started it, just haven't finished it yet. And I really want to, and that is Gilead by Marilynne Robinson. It's definitely a book that I would enjoy and appreciate, but it is something to savor over and linger over, and I just haven't put the time into that, and I really want to. So that would be a good goal for the summer book bingo, and that is the one I want to cross off that spot. And then a book in a series, and I am pretty sure this isn't a series. I don't know that it was originally intended to be a series, and correct me if I'm wrong. So if this is not actually part of a series, let me know. And I have other ones that can fit for this prompt, but this is another one that I want to read, but I checked out the library, so I need to read it sooner rather than later, and it's been on my TBR for a while. This could also fit for a book that I've been putting off, and that is Before the Coffee Gets Cold. Again, I started it. It's not a very long book. It won't take me long to read. Just need to read it. A couple of other books besides Paradise Lost that I have already started that I want to finish and that fit prompts for the book bingo. For the nonfiction prompt, I have two, and that is either one of them. I'm not going to use both of them, obviously, for the prompt, but these are two nonfiction books that I'm going to get to sooner rather than later and can mark off that spot on my bingo board. This changes everything. I've started it. I'm reading through it myself, and then I'm going to read through it with my kids this summer. I think we'll take a chapter a week. I think there are 8 chapters, and 8 weeks over the course of the summer, we will dig into this and read it as like a family devotional sort of thing. So I'm really enjoying it so far. And I won't say a lot about this because I've talked about this a lot, but I really want to finish this. I'm going to finish this summer. It's going to happen. And I didn't say what it was. And the Dead Shall Rise by Steve Oney. And then this one, I don't know why it is taking me so long. I think I'm just too easily distracted by all the other books that I want to read, and I just keep picking up other stuff and not getting back to this one. But again, this summer I will finish this one, and it would fit the prompt for a book that is more than 500 pages, because honey, that is more than 500 pages right there. Like almost 3 times as many. I will finish, maybe not in June, but definitely this summer, those big chunkers I 100% am going to finish and be able to mark those off on my bingo board. The rest of these, and John Milton and Frankenstein, I need to read before the end of the summer. So those are like general summer ones, not necessarily have to be read in June, but I would like to read this one in June, or at least the bulk of it, Paradise Lost. One other one that I didn't mention, and I don't know if it fits any of the prompts, but I think it would go for historical fiction, or I'm sure it would fit one of the prompts in the summer book bingo, and that is Garden of the Midnights by Hannah Linder, which is a newer release by this author. I've read one other book by her. I really enjoyed it. My sister read this one and loved it. So I would like to get to that one as well. That would be just a fun read. And yeah, so that is all that I have for my June TBR. I am excited about getting to some of these books that I didn't have time for in May. And I'm hoping in June to have more reading time. School will be out. And other than cleaning and organizing my house, I should have some time to just relax and read. So I'm looking forward to that. So let me know if you have read any of these, what your thoughts are, if you think I will like them, or any of these that interest you, if they are on your TBR as well. And let me know what is the book you are most looking forward to reading in June. And do you expect to have more time to read in June now that things are winding down for the school year, or less time now that summer is kicking into high gear? I am curious what it will work out for you, what you predict, how your June reading will go. Let me know, and I will talk to you next time. Bye. Hello, so I have an addendum or two for my June TBR. I told you I was feeling super disorganized about that whole thing, and I totally was. So this probably would be more accurately named a summer TBR, books I hope to get to over the summer. But be that as it may, I have a couple things to add. So first of all, instead of looking at me, I want you to be able to see this beautiful meadow area, conservation area where I'm walking. So I'm going to switch to the other side and let you see that instead of me. So I am going to, oh, do you see there's a butterfly way out there? I don't think you can see it. It's kind of far. There. Yeah, it's too blurry. So I got a notice from the library that The Vanishing at Castle Moreau by Jamie Jo Wright was in, and I had requested that a while back. So I'm going to add that to my TBR. I may or may not get to it. It's a digital copy. I'm sure I can always request it again, but it is one of hers that I really want to read and just haven't yet. So I'm going to add that to my potential TBR pile. And then I realized that the Read Your Shelf Challenge by Chantel, the whole goal is to read from your bookshelf, right? And while I technically own a copy of Paradise Lost, which is what I was planning to read for that one, it's a digital copy, and I think I got it like from Project Gutenberg or something. So it's not really a copy from my shelf of something that I need to read. I specifically downloaded it to read along with my son. So it doesn't really, in my mind, fit the purpose of the challenge. So I do have a book of poetry on my shelf that I want to get to and haven't yet, and that is a book of poems by the Bronte sisters. I have dipped into it, and I don't know that I'll read the whole thing in June, but I will definitely dip into it some more and read some more of their poems. I read a few of each of theirs back last September or October, so I'll read some more of that. That's the other one. And then I also agreed to do a buddy read, which I'm very excited about, of I believe it's Children of the Stars by Mario Escobar. It is a World War II novel, and it has been on my shelf for a year or two at least. And I have read one other book by him that I really enjoyed, and so I've been wanting to read this one, but just haven't had a compelling reason to pick it up and choose it over other books until I heard that Alma from Alma's Reading Journey and Jeanette from Jane Reads were planning to read that as a buddy read, and they invited anybody to join them who wanted, and I was like, ooh, 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 pick me, because I have it on my shelf and I want to read it. So that also works for the historical fiction readathon, and I'm sure it fits something in the prompt for the summer book bingo as well. I don't have it on me, so I can't look and see, but look at those pretty flowers. So that's the plan, adding a few more of those. It goes without saying that these books will not all be read. I mean, life slows down a little bit in June, but not that much. Alas and alack, I will not be able to lie around and read all day. If I could, maybe I could actually read all of these books, but Since that is not the case, we will just choose from these books as the month goes on, and you will find out at the end of June what all I accomplished from my TBR. Okay, so for realsies, I think I'm done now. I think that is my June TBR. So I will see you all later, and have a lovely time reading.